Dan Rothenberg and Joe Klosik, two guys trying to figure it out. Not the right wing, not the brosphere. Left of center, with humor and empathy.
Welcome.
Welcome to the Splain, everyone.
Welcome, everyone. Subscribe.
Like us. Validate us.
Have we had some more subscribers, Joe?
We're at 27, buddy. We're at 27. 27. I think we're aiming now for 30.
30.
We're aiming for the big 3-0. We're at 27. I can see.
All right. I thought we were at 35, but...
What?
Well, I assume I was wrong about that. 27. All right.
We're at 27. Yeah. Let me double check. I don't even need to double check. I checked earlier. We're at 27.
All right.
And you know what? I'm okay with that.
Me too. I'm okay. We're finding our audience. Absolutely. There is a siren behind you every time.
I know. There's a siren. It's because of where I live. I live in a very safe neighborhood right by the fire department.
Right by the Tenderloin, right?
Well, I'm in the Tenderloin, which is not a safe neighborhood, but I'm right by the fire department. So if there's a fire, they're going to be here like that.
Right. All right.
Yeah. They're not coming to clean up the shit.
Right. They're coming to put out the fire. Or
put out the fire that some crazy person probably started.
All right, I tell you what.
Recognize.
Enough small talk, Joe.
Okay, let's dive in, buddy.
I want to talk about Marc Maron.
Okay.
And first of all, I want to give a salute to those of you that don't know. Marc Maron is what I would say kind of a solo voice out there. He's wrapping up a very popular comedian. He's not an arena act like a lot of the more kind of Rogan sphere or... Well, actually, let me say, what is it? Who are the big arena acts right now? You've got...
I don't think our audience is arena.
No.
They don't know him either, but yeah, Marc Maron is for people who think, who pay attention to politics, who have experienced some anxiety and existential dread in their lives, and cat owners.
Yeah, cat owners, pet owners, I would say left of center people like us that are kind of losing their mind, who are losing their footing in this country. And I want to give him credit because he's kind of he's calling it all out for what it is in a way that on a personal level I just completely agree with. He is like the sole guy screaming from the rooftops, and at times he sounds maybe a little arrogant or snobby, and he has a lot of contempt, but all of that mirrors my contempt.
He's consistent in his personality. He's always been that guy.
He has always been that guy, but there are things he's saying
I
have always felt, and I have to admit, no, you don't hear a lot of people saying it. And
give me an example. What is one thing he's saying that makes you go, thank God someone's saying this?
Okay. First of all, that there are certain he's calling out the sort of moral ambiguity or moral and ethical relativity that people are trying to live in, where let's say they do comedy in a way that perpetuates narratives that I really he's that I believe are leading toward a fascistic
racism,
culture.
Fascism, homophobia. Yeah,
but
it's just a joke. It's just a joke, Dan.
Right.
Yeah, is that the moral relativism that you're talking about?
Yes, you're benefiting from something, and it's not just... It's more than racism. It's this perspective sort of coming from... Like, if you look at the far right and comedy and culture, it's coming from this place of men's suffrage, that men need to reclaim something, and men have been disempowered which I believe is untrue. And that's how you really, that's kind of the heart of fascism. When you take people that are in power or have a great deal of power and convince them that they're losing their power, that gives the ability to oppress and to the translation in comedy is to punch down and get mean, and it's not just that, and put people who are in power right now, give them more power. And he's calling that out, and he's basically saying,
he is.
When you have these anti-woke comedians sort of perpetuating this narrative, they've been co-opted, and that's what's happening. And he keeps saying, I can't separate the two. I can't just say it's just, and I don't even know if that's right or wrong, but good for you. But I've always kind of felt that way.
No, I agree with them. I agree with them 100%. There's two things that I would say about that whole thing. One, if your setup and punchline sounds remarkably like the same talking points coming from Trump and Fox News, you're not a comedian anymore. You're leading a rally, right? And that also, you have to stop. There's also this whole idea of they're a victim. They're a victim.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, you can't say that anymore. I'm going to get canceled. Like, dude, if you're Joe Rogan and you're the #1 podcast in America and you're making $150 million a year, you're the mainstream. You're not getting canceled. Enough of the victimhood.
Right. And
you
what
can,
is
you can
it?
say it.
What is it to be canceled? I believe.
But that's such a stupid. I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off, but it's just such a silly, stupid thing to argue about anymore. I would love to be canceled because all of the people who have quote unquote been canceled are making millions of dollars, and they're all over social media, and they're touring regularly.
Yeah, people give a shit
enough.
enough.
You're not canceled. You're just like, making the libtards cry. That's what it means. Like, God forbid someone says like, hey, maybe we should just let trans people be trans people. Fuck you, asshole. Like, that's what it, that's what it boils down to. So now, and I've seen Maron on a couple of podcasts where he says like, you won. You guys won. Right. Trans people are afraid for their lives again. Right. Trans people are afraid to go outdoors. Trans people are afraid that you're going to take away what few rights they have. And yet you continue to make these jokes about trans people. It's hacky. I mean, if you just step back and you strictly look at it through the lens of stand-up, if everybody is doing it, it's hacky.
Right. And I think
you got it.
What is so unsettling is there's always been hacky, but now hacky is arrogant, and hacky is pretending is faux intelligence. Hacky is jumping on this political bandwagon as if you're some kind of Bill Hicks.
Yeah, and it's not. It's not. I mean, Bill Hicks was a genius.
Right.
This is you can't be cheering on mass deportation because a comedian's job, if you're going to do social commentary, a comedian's job is always to ask questions, always to be skeptical, always to be the canary in the coal mine. But if you're agreeing with everybody in power, you failed. I mean, you're not a comedian. You're cheering on the end of democracy. You're another bully. That's all you are.
Right.
You're
It's
the bully
bullying.
giving.
All
you're just bullying people.
Very, very bullyish. And Marc Maron is saying that. Another thing he says that kind of I get tickled. It tickles me pink a little bit. he's got a thing, and I don't. And the thing is, he's ripping apart everyone.
Yeah.
He's just, and I get a kick.
It's fun to watch.
He will be Marc Maron will be on someone's podcast, and the next day ripping him a new one, ripping Howie Mandel a new one.
Yeah.
And he's ripping you and I a new one. He's saying every two white guys can just sit in front of a microphone and have a podcast now.
The weird thing is he's semi-responsible for that because he showed comedians like, hey, get a podcast going. You
Sure.
know, and here's the other big point that I will make about Marin. Um, I mean, you and I probably got a chance to work with him a lot back in the day. Like
Yeah.
before he was doing Air
Like at
America,
the
before
punchline. Yeah.
Punchline and Cobb's, right? And I worked with him a couple other times at a couple other gigs in the greater Bay Area. Um, and man, oh man, I remember watching him on stage sometimes and just the way that he would interrogate a concept and just squeeze laughs out of it. And audiences that didn't want to like him, he would just get them, and he's making them laugh at just obscure references, weird philosophical tangents, existential angst. He's just killing. And then he'd come off stage and he was insufferable, not in an arrogant way, but just so miserable. And, he was just, he would attack everybody. And there was a couple of times I was with him, like having a meal after a show. And I just remember thinking, like, man, do I have to be that fucking miserable in my life to be that good on stage? Because he was so judgmental of everything and everyone. And there are times I catch myself in my everyday life just going like, fuck, this is probably a little bit of what Marin feels like.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I'm angry at everything. I'm angry at everyone in front of me. I'm pissed off. And then,
And sometimes I find that gets a little, I'm a fellow Jew, that gets a little much. He gets a little over the top with the existential angst and the neuroticism, even though I get it. But I just I appreciate his voice right now. I was thinking, we kind of talk about what's the antidote to what's the left version of the Rogan sphere, and I almost want to say that's Marc Maron. Just
I agree.
Lean in, but not WTF. Lean into what you're doing right now. That's the closest thing I've seen to it.
Yeah.
Like, get a new podcast or change that. Just go for it. That's one thing that we don't do on the left like they do on the right. Just go for the jugular, and that's what he's doing. Because I think we're kind of afraid to. We're afraid to sound crazy, even when we're not.
Yeah. Well,
Do you know what I mean?
There's truth. But that's the thing now, right? You've got Joe Rogan, who's influenced podcasting and comedians, and that's not good. And then you're right. Like the left, we've got Marin, who does come off sounding preachy. He does come off sounding like he's on the verge of a mental health crisis.
And
yeah,
I appreciate that. You see a couple of these interviews lately, and by the way, he's my new favorite. It used to be Louis C.K., and then I just the guy that you see every word he speaks online, you just enjoy it. Louis C.K. is a genius. I don't enjoy him anymore. I'm not saying he's not funny anymore. I don't.
Well, his old stuff I think is still great. But his new stuff is shit because he's also appealing to that brosphere. Like the quality. I've attempted to listen to Louis C.K. and it's gotten dumb. It's gotten just. It's not the smart guy wrestling with things that it used to be, but it's because he was quote unquote canceled. And you weren't canceled, just the liberal audience that was following you didn't want to put up with you anymore.
Yeah, just didn't. And one thing I think is important to say, comedy is so popular that it's beyond making people laugh. So I've heard this defense on the right. Well, you're going to boycott Louis C.K. What, you don't think he's funny anymore? First of all, I'm not boycotting him. I just don't choose to listen to him anymore because when you get to a certain love for a comedian, it's beyond just liking their jokes. You like them.
Yeah.
We fall in love, even we might not know them like we think we do. We fall in love with these guys. We want to hear their perspective. There was a time I wanted to hear what Louis had to say about fatherhood, and he just had a way of talking about things that was so intelligent and so entertaining. And so Maron is sort of like that for me now. And another thing,
Gotta. I hope we don't find out that he's been jacking off in hotel rooms.
I sure
in
hope
front of-
not. Yeah, I know. I doubt it.
But it also wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest.
Well, he's been
like Maron has had his history. I mean, he's been. Yeah, I mean, he's an interesting guy. I'm not trying telling any tales out of school, but yeah, I mean, Maron himself will say, like, I have attached too much importance to sex rather than love, and that's gotten him into trouble in his personal life. I'm just saying,
Not
like
that
with
we're
Louis C.K., we didn't see any of that coming at all. And then then the right is like, well, you can't forgive the guy. Like, yeah, I can forgive the guy, but here's the thing. He never really made a sincere, honest attempt to explain, which is shocking because his style of comedy was so confessional. Like, where was this brilliant special?
Right, that's where
that he could have talked about.
Some of us feel he betrayed us.
Yeah,
that, and here's what I would pinpoint. He allowed the argument to change. You're always in charge of your own narrative. And this argument creeped in that, so just as a reminder, the issue was the position he put these women in a position of power, in a humiliating, degrading place, and put that pressure on them emotionally in their career, etc. It's not about wanting to jack off. You get people consensually wanted to jack off together. That's nothing. That's just so. The point is,
do you have names and numbers?
Right. I'll
okay.
Hook you up with that. So the point, the point is the position you put them
people in.
And it got conflated into this idea. Well, his kink got exposed. It's not about his kink. It's about consent and power, and he allowed that argument to conflate. He allowed himself to turn into kind of a victim. And to me, that's what I had hopes that he wouldn't allow that to happen. He would keep us on track. And
I mean, if any comedian out there could have taken that and done a brilliant special about the power dynamics versus sex and sexuality, and because he was talking about his daughters. I remember him being on the Tonight Show, being on the Daily Show with Jon Stewart, and explaining to Jon Stewart how a woman has to be more aware of her surroundings than a man does, and Jon Stewart going, "Wow, you have so evolved as a man from when I first met you," and everybody was just like, "Wow, here's this beacon of liberal manhood who cares because he has daughters."
That's true. He was,
and then we find out he was a good guy, and we're like, oh, he's making us think about women's issues because we're men. We don't think like, when we go out, we don't really have to look around as much. But it turns out he was taking advantage of this power dynamic, and he could have gone on stage and could have talked about it in a way that would have been apologetic, would have been amazing, would have been sincere, would have been thought-provoking, would have been hilarious. It would have been an amazing thing to do, but he didn't do it.
Instead, what he did was exactly what we're talking about. He said, you know what, I'm just a comedian here. I'm going to continue to do comedy. If you like me, great. If not, fuck you. Because this is just comedy. And I think that's what Maron has also insinuated. He made this comment. I forgot who it was with. About he kind of said, "Well, Louis might be a different level of monster than other people, but he still labeled him a monster." I mean, he's just not pulling any punches and all.
I mean, and that's true too, right? Like, yeah, look, there's different degrees of murder, right? I'm not saying he's the worst human being in the world, but it's like. It's weird to listen to the guy after you know this and he's never talked about it.
Yeah, I agree. I felt like you just kind of skirted the issue, and he's got this new audience that's not, and he's still, you know what, I have to admit, he's still brilliant. He still writes great jokes, and I don't even see them as that much worse than what he was doing. The guy is a joke machine. He knows his voice so well, I think he's really funny, and I wouldn't say that his audience is the same as what's his name, Heathcliff Marmaduke, Tony
Oh yeah, the guy
Hinchcliffe.
from Kill Tony.
Yeah, so
I mean, Kill Tony is a particular brand.
right. It's not that.
It's awful because it's no, again, like strictly speaking, if we only look at it through the eyes of stand-up comedy, Kill Tony, that show,
I've never seen it.
it's oh, you owe it to yourself to watch it once just to see how bad it is.
What is
but
it?
the entire premise.
What
okay,
is
so
it?
here's the thing. So he sort of sits in there's like three comics that are observing a comedian go up, and he's passing judgment on these comedians. Here's the thing. The particular kinds of comedians that he will get, right? They'll do like a 5-minute set. Clearly, and I'm not exaggerating, all right? I mean, maybe it's gotten a little bit better, but they're very, very early in their career, so they don't know anything, and they feel like, oh, this is a big, this is a big trophy for me because now I've got a credit. Mm-hmm. Also, too, and this is important, and I'm not saying this lightly, some of these people clearly have mental health issues, right?
The comedians?
Yeah, the comedians. And so they go up, they do terrible material, right? They're not... Yeah, I know,
mental
I'm not
health issues beyond the normal comedian, mental health issues?
I mean, you have someone go up that clearly has either some cognitive impairment or, other issues going on, and then they're terrible. And then Tony and his gang of bullies will make fun of this person. They're basically bringing someone up so they can punch down, and people love that because, we get to pick on someone, we get to make fun of someone. It's not stand-up comedy. It's basically like a stoning.
Okay, it's like a reality show voyeurism kind of.
Yeah, let's get the public
kind of roast,
idiot, the village idiot,
roasting.
And let's put him in the middle of the square and just stone him. And, right now, that's exactly what the times call for. That's why it's huge. That's why Netflix gave him a special, a Kill Tony special.
Yeah, I saw it.
Right?
And it was just...
Yeah.
To me, it was... I didn't see... Where's the comedy? I just saw all of the theatrics and the noise and the... Let me ask you
there is
something.
no comedy there.
So how would you answer this? I want to play the devil's advocate for a second because, all right, Joe, you're talking about this punching down.
Yeah.
Comedy is about someone's got to go down in comedy.
Someone's got to go down. Yeah.
Comedy is not politically correct. Maybe some of these trans jokes are funny. It's just comedians being funny. What I don't really. What's your problem? How can that be punching down? What are we doing right now? We're making fun of comedians. Way more successful than us. We're ripping on. Okay. All right. There you
Exactly.
go.
We're speaking truth to power.
Okay.
All right.
Explain.
So that's the thing. Okay, so think about groups that have been marginalized. Women, gays, African Americans, right? Groups in traditional American culture that have had to fight for a seat at the table.
Right.
So making fun of them, in any way, like making fun of how a black person looks or talks or their inability to get an education, that is punching down.
Okay.
All right,
you would say
and
not so much
to
their
do that,
inability to get an education, their the inequities of education and opportunity.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
you know what I mean.
I don't want you to chop this up and then you're looking like an asshole. I don't want to get the wrong idea. Okay.
Oh my God, yeah.
You're doing good here. Segment. I like this, Joe.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay.
Okay.
So we've got. Okay. Now, are you saying, Joe, no jokes about them ever? No if someone is
not at all, not at all.
Then what are you saying?
You can make jokes. What I'm saying is you can make jokes about anything.
Yeah.
But when you make the joke, are you laughing at them for something
Are
that
you
they've
bringing
never ever been able.
Are you bringing everyone together to laugh at them? Go ahead.
Are you making fun of the stereotype, or are you making fun of them? Right? Are you asking people to join you laughing at some realization, some greater awareness of like, look, this is not fair, or are you laughing at them because they've never ever, by the power structure anyways, been considered full members of
Right.
society?
And what I would add to that, the jokes about marginalized people that tend to be clever and age well are the kind of the jokes about our own ignorance. Like, I don't get it. But and so you we're allowed to not get it. We're allowed to say stupid things. But that's different than just going for the jugular, just making assumptions, making fun. You can do it and do it.
Here's how I would say it quickly. If an audience leaves a comedy show feeling better about stereotypes they've heard their entire life, we failed as comedians. Now, not every comedian thinks that, but here's the other, I mean, if we're going to start to parse things out, I mean, here's the thing about the left that drives me crazy. And remember, we initially started this podcast because we wanted the left to have a sense of humor.
Right.
And oftentimes, like, a really, really left-leaning audience is oftentimes the worst audience to be in front of, because they don't understand, hey, I'm bringing this up to make fun of it.
Just
but every time you
give me
seize
enough
up,
time to tell the joke.
yeah.
Give me a second.
You know, and even after, like, I remember doing a show, I can't remember what it was a benefit for, but it was at Cobb's, and, you know, a big left-leaning organization, and every joke was just a climb back up that ladder. And about 15 minutes in, I'm like, have you not fucking figured it out yet? Do you guys understand that I'm bringing up the thing that we all think is appalling and terrible so I can make fun of it? Stop seizing up every time I mention the bad thing. I'm not going to go, because I agree. No, I'm bringing it up.
Just give me
so
a
we
shot.
can make fun of it.
Give me a shot.
Just
Everyone
trust me. You
right.
laughed at everything. Just relax. And that's the thing about the left that will continue to get in our own way. Like, oh, you can't even bring that up. Yes, you can.
You can bring anything.
You can bring it up.
And just try to be clever about it. Try to say something different about it, or don't. But you're a hack.
Or you're a hack. Yeah, I mean, look, if you're doing all the same, I mean, you know, I remember, great example. I remember being told, this is a long time ago, like 20 years ago, like, people thought Joe Rogan, he was going to be the next social commentator. He was going to be the next Lenny Bruce. He was going to be the next Bill Hicks, right? He was going to be this genius, you know, and I remember going to see him, and about 10 minutes into his set, he's doing an Asian driving joke, a bad Asian driving joke. Not only was he doing a bad Asian driving joke, but it was a joke that everyone had done 100 times before. And I'm like, okay, not only is this hacky, this guy is stealing a hacky joke, and he's not bringing it up to make fun of it. He's not bringing it up in any meaningful way to, like, challenge the stereotype. He's just doing a joke based on the premise that Asian drivers are bad drivers.
Okay, so,
and I was just like, this guy is shit. Right. This guy is not, you know, brilliant or funny. He's just doing hacky stuff.
Right. All Maron is saying is that doing the same thing over and over again gets easy. Now, to all of the anti-woke comedians that feel like this is all bullshit, that disagree with what we're saying, it's a simple message. Right now, do you hear any Asian people are bad drivers jokes? And if you do, what's the first thing you think of? Probably, it's hacky.
It's hacky.
Right.
I mean, but the other guy that Maron's been calling out, the young kid who God, I'm blanking on his name. But he's an interesting comedian because he'd been around for a little bit of time, definitely put in his work, and then had a clip blow up on TikTok of him riffing something.
Yeah, I know, the talking to people.
Talking to people, right?
Right.
And it went, I mean, it was stratospheric. Like the amount of people that saw that, and on the basis of that, it got him a gig at Madison Square Garden where he filled it out, and on the basis of that, it got him a Netflix special. Now here's the thing. He opens on a joke about domestic abuse, right? And not just domestic violence, I should say. It's the joke about like what is it? Like, what do you tell a woman with one black eye? Nothing. She doesn't listen anyway. Like, that is an old joke. Mm-hmm. It's a hacky joke. It's not a particularly nice joke. It's definitely punching down. And he stole that joke and put it in the context of talking to a waitress, at a diner with a black eye. And it's like, wait a second. That is a shitty joke on like 3 different levels. But this is the guy that's being held up as the new, fresh voice of stand-up comedy. It's just another bully joke where you're punching down. You're making fun of a woman who's clearly in a bad situation. And Maron called him out, and this guy was like, "I don't care what that old man says." Like, of course, that's what you're going to have to say, But you're being called out. You're doing shit material.
Yeah. Yeah, I
don't get me going, Dan.
I'm less willing to die on the hill of just the general quality of comedy. I know. What are you going to do, though? That's how our world is. I mean,
I do think the quality of comedy right now is not what it was.
It's getting.
I don't know where that dividing line is, but it's getting simple. It's getting cruel. It's getting. It's gone backward in some way. I'm not saying like, woke comedy is hilarious. And I'm not saying like every joke I do is mind altering or enlightening.
Yeah,
but
it's preaching to the
it's
preaching to the choir. Here's the thing. There's always been hackiness that preaches to the choir. The reason people like us are a little upset or it find it annoying is it's not just preaching to the choir and it's mean. And it's easy to be mean. It's just not.
I think some of these comedians made a financial decision or based on popularity. Like, okay, if that is what comedy is now, then I can do that. I can be a high school bully. I can be an asshole.
Right.
I can make fun of things like, yeah, Trump is right and fuck these immigrants. Yeah, I mean, they're just following what they think the trend is. And I swear to God, in 15 years, no one's going to remember any of it.
No. And so that, in that sense, I do believe, we say like the what is it? The wave of justice bends forward. How does that go?
I think you're quoting Martin Luther King, where he goes, the arc of justice is long, but it tends to bend in our favor. I got
something
that
like
totally
that.
Wrong too, but
I don't know if I believe that so much. But I do believe that about comedy. Hacky dries up, and it will get old because people get sick of it. No matter.
Yeah.
The last thing I'll say that tickles me about Maron is he's calling out late baby boomers for kind of trying to have it both ways. Do you notice that?
The Howie Mandel comment was hilarious.
I love that.
Yeah.
Howie Mandel, it's kind of late boomers, I think, do not. There are certain progressive concepts that they want to keep their distance from because it discredits their life. Mm-hmm. They just want to. Boomers have kind of had it all, and they don't want to give up any of it. So the classic sort of boomer trajectory of life is, in my 20s, I fought for social justice. Translation, listen to good music, got high, and partied. For most of them. Didn't fight for shit. But I was around for that. I marched.
I had all the right posters on the wall.
Yes, I was a part of that. We changed the world, and now we're good. And I want to make money, and as Maron put it, now I just want to stay busy and make money. Yeah. And for you to bring up your woke concepts puts all that, kind of threatens all that. Makes me need to work again. Makes me need to check my privilege. And I'm done with that. I'm not young anymore.
Yeah. I when he went after Bill Maher, I think he was also dead on. Just about
just fucking dead on.
The late.
Thank you.
Yeah, they'll do anything to hold on to relevance.
Right.
And that's why Bill Maher had dinner with
How do
Trump.
you visit that president?
Yeah.
And
because Kid Rock gave him the invitation. Like, that should be your first red flag. If Kid Rock is like, "Hey man, you want to come to dinner?" No, I don't.
And I get
no.
On some level, we'd all love to go to that dinner. Why not? What a story. But yeah, there is a cost to it. You're sane washing him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
you really are.
You really don't see that? You really don't get that? Bill Maher?
It is. He does, and that's an example of a guy that wants to have it both ways. He really does want to have it both ways. Yeah. Sure, he's the new Hitler incarnated, but
right. And you said he was Hitler. So if you're going to sit there and say he's not going to leave power for a year, he's not leaving power.
Right. Yeah.
What is that? Who doesn't leave power? A dictator.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And so you don't get to. And then he kind of claimed, no, I've been very critical of President Trump. But if you go have dinner with him and then say he's a good guy, that's all nullified. It's over.
Yes,
it doesn't matter.
Like, did you really push him on anything? Did you really push him with any questions? Did you go in like, hey, look,
fucking matter.
Probably because they all. I mean,
why would you go and say he's not a bad guy? He just plays one on TV. What does that serve? I'm sorry, that matters.
No, you're right. Yeah. Yeah, no, he's just doing unconstitutional thing after unconstitutional thing. Right. But he sounded very measured during dinner. Then again, Chris Rock and I did smoke pot before I went to dinner with him.
What?
I mean, I'm sure of that,
Yes. So you want to be. You can't have it all. Yeah, you can't have it both ways.
You can't. I mean, he wants to be involved in the conversation, and that is
right. And that's the only way. Yeah. Maron was talking about this grasp for relevance. It's very hard for a comedian to stay relevant. Few do it. So we can wrap up on this. I was thinking about this. You and I both have done comedy. I've done comedy enough. I know none of you have heard of me, and I'm not claiming to be relevant in the comedy community, but I went to clubs and I stayed in the condo, and I went on the Sunday before. After Doug Stanhope was the headliner, and I smelled it, and it's in my pores. I understand the world of comedy and all of it entails. Anyway, when you begin comedy, it's an interesting thing. In your 20s, you're usually performing for people that are older than you, and that's kind of an interesting experience. So you begin a little bit kind of a badass. Remember that? It tends to be...
Fuck yeah.
I know. People in their 30s, and you're talking, and it's kind of it's almost a little bit of truth to power is just implicit in your age. Mm-hmm. You're speaking your truth to these older people, and they're validating you. And then you get to be as old as your audience. Yeah. And now you're kind of in your stride. You got maybe 5-10 years behind you, and you're speaking to the people in your generation, of your generation. And then you tend to get older, right? And at a certain point in time, you're done. Very few, there's a zeitgeist, you're just not, I don't mean to call out, for instance, Chris Rock's last special. I'm not trying to, he's a genius.
Just tear them all down, Dan, wow.
No.
But his last special.
But that was not.
A little bit of. The passion was not quite there.
No matter how much of a genius as he is, that was not Bring the Pain anymore.
No,
you can't recapture that. He is an older guy in my opinion, grappling with some stuff that's no longer it's no longer as his take on it is no longer what it was.
Do you know? Okay, I think I know what you're saying, and here's how I would sum it up, right? Because I remember an older comedian telling me this at the very beginning of my career. Is like, watch what people are talking about on stage, and you'll see the whole trajectory of a career and what happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, you're young, you're talking about being broke. Right? Where's my broke people in the crowd, right? You're doing all these jokes about being poor and how you have to hustle and
Yes.
all the ways that you are finding by hook or crook to get by.
Uh-huh.
And then if you're a comedian and you start to get successful, the comedian is talking about airplane flight, hotels.
Right.
Right.
That's what
and
you're doing.
You're talking about what you know, and what
right.
you know is you're on the road. It's being in hotels, so everyone has hotel jokes. It's being on the airplane, the baby, all of that, and yeah. And then where you start to lose the audience is you make some money.
Uh-huh.
You start to make some money,
Right.
and then you go up in front of an audience, and now you are detached from everyday reality.
Right.
Right. And I saw it with a couple of comedians that got big, and their whole set was name dropping. And unless it's like funny and specific, like I was working on a movie with so and so, and this is what happened, and you got
Right.
a great story, right? Then
Your life
that's awesome.
is too good for comedy now.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Your life gets too good for comedy, and you're talking about how, oh man, can you believe the property taxes? I just bought a ranch.
Go handle
Yeah.
that.